Welcome to this event of our first day of the Robotics Ed Week at USC Viterbi School of Engineering. You are at the event that we call Find Your Robot, and we're here with Professor Weiss and all of her students who are going to help everybody figure out what robots do in different places and why they're important. So it's going to be very interactive. So feel free to interact when you get the opportunity. So it's very important to us that people understand how many robots there are already in our lives and how many more robots there are going to be. And at USC, we really try to help people in middle school. So this one's aimed at middle school, understand the role that robots play, and that robots are something that you can get involved in right now, and it could end up being a career for you if you're interested. So through the next 4 days, we've got a total of 40 events. So you can go to our website, which you might not be able to see up there, but I'll put it in the chat when I stop talking. And please, you're welcome to attend as many events as you can. Most of our events are open. Some are capped because they're going to be interactive. Some events are aimed at teachers, so if there's any teachers in the room, check those out, including how to start a robotics team or class at your school. So with that, I want to welcome all of the Writing 340 students in Professor Weiss's class, and I turn it over to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so very much, Katie. And thank you all for that welcome. And we are so pleased, myself and all of my students here today from Writing 340, we're so pleased to be here joining you for this Robotics Ed Week event hosted by the Viterbi School of Engineering K-12 STEM Center. So as Katie said, I'm Professor Weiss and I teach communication for engineers. That means that we love to share knowledge, encourage participation, inclusion, and stimulate dialogue. So please feel free during this entire hour to chat, raise your hands. You can unmute yourselves and share your ideas. You will be both asking and responding to questions as together with our students, you explore the different places where we anticipate interacting with robots in the very near future in our everyday lives. And so engineering is just such a creative, vibrant, and really optimistic field because we try to imagine the future and actively shape it. So please, we encourage you to participate in this field, not only in this session, but in this field, and design the future together, okay? Because it's really in our hands. So we do have 4 teams presenting today for 10 minutes each. We'll start off with robots in everyday life. That's our first team. That's kind of a snapshot of many different contexts. Second team will be robots at work. Team 3, robots that cook. It's getting to be dinner time, so that'll be interesting. And then finally, team 4, sports robots. So with that, I will hand it over to team 1, robots in everyday life, and you all take it from here. Thank you.
All right, so can we start?
Are you enabled to share? Hold on, let me make sure. You should be. There you go.
Yeah. Cool. Can you guys see my screen? All right, so we are team 1 and we are gonna start with Nancy.
Yeah, so since we're team 1, we'll just have a quick introduction about ourselves. My name is Nancy and I'm a business major.
I'm Justin. I'm majoring in computer science games.
I'm Zira, majoring in communication.
I'm Terry and I'm currently a computer science junior.
I'm Dayu and I'm majoring in computer science and business administration.
Hi, I'm Chou Fan and majoring in economics and communication.
All right. So firstly, I have a quick question for all of you guys. So when you hear the word robots, what image will you think about? Could you go to the next slide? Yeah. What image would you think about? How does it look like? What kind of robots could you think about? Any possible answers? Okay, if not, I will just have a quick introduction about what is robotics. Robotics is actually an intersection of science, engineering, and technology that produce machines called robots. And also, most of the times, it will design machines that can help and assist humans. And could you please go to the next slide, please? And then for here, I found some pictures for various kinds of robots. So the robots can actually shape in different forms. They can with limbs, they can be human-like, or they can like cars, animals. They can also be as small as insects, as large as buildings. So, and at the same time, they can operate in various fields. So today, my teammates and I will discuss with you with various robots in the world, and now and also in the future. So we're gonna explain how the magic of robotics can be involved in every corner of our lives. So now I'm going to transfer to the next person. Yeah. Next slide, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Dari Jane. So today I'm going to introduce you to one of the greatest and the most fascinating home robots, Zembo. So Zembo, by its appearance, has a little head and body. There is an interactive smart tablet on its head, and you can think of it as an iPad. Besides, Zembo has a little rounded body, so it can move around the house. And Zembo majorly has three functionalities. Number one, it can be used for educational purposes. Zembo is loaded with effective tools for providing AI-powered engines and processors, so you can be a smart teacher that knows everything. Number two, Zembo has effective tools to provide intelligent medical services, so you can detect your heart rate, body fat, and offer medical advice to help you recover from diseases and build a healthier body. It's just like a doctor at home. Number three, Zembo is also a great companion for entertainment. You can play games, music, and movies on it. Zembo can also read nighttime stories to children. You will never feel alone with Zembi at home. It's a robot, a friend, a babysitter, and a household assistant too. And now I'm going to pass it on to the next slide.
Can you guys hear me? So now we are going to discuss about the robots that can be installed on our bodies, which may be kind of futuristic, but that's kind of the point. So let's start with an easy question. You guys can all distinguish the robots that is currently in the picture, right? Yeah, so obviously it's a bionic limb that is installed on this person's legs that allows him to be able to walk. But the hard question is that how does it work? Does anybody know the answer? All right, I can tell you guys the answer for now. So there are usually two ways to achieve this. So the hard way is to catch the neural signals that's passing through the body, especially on the leg part, which can directly control the bionic limbs as the human basically controls their own legs. But there's also an alternative way, which is more resembles to the concept of bionic. Uh, it basically receives the muscle signals at a certain point in the specific limb. Once it receives these signals, this kind of little stress, they will be able to execute certain movements, like be able to move their toes, to move their knees, or something like that. So in this way, the person has to be able to adapt to a new form of movement system that he never experienced before. But it's an interesting way to think about it. But for the next part, there's also some bionic limbs. Not actually bionic, but there are also some exotic limbs and that can be also installed to normal people to help them with their daily work. So in this picture, we are demonstrating of a form of robotics limb that is called exoskeleton that can be also installed people with hard labor to able to assist them with their weight support. So for delivery person, for workers, this will be able to better help them control their weight on their shoulders and also to be able to support them to travel through long distances.
Yeah. Besides all those like daily life robots, we could have more robots on other aspects, like in the crime scene. Right now, the New York police they're using a robot police dog to detect some issues in the crime scene or some environment that may be dangerous to the real person. So can you guys think any future robot that could be used in those four aspects? Okay, I will just carry on. So for protection, when a crime scene is established, a robot can be used to protect the crime scene, to isolate the area, and also, some robot can start detection right after the police arrive. They could detect the smallest details that a normal person may not notice. And also investigation after they got all those clues like footprints, blood. They can do all those tests automatically to give specific information to the police officer for reference. And then at the end, they may have the ability to analyze those evidence and kind of deduce what the criminal or what kind of situation it is in this crime scene. So as combined, the futurist robots for police officers, they could be both established for efficiency, security, and also more accuracy on those detection scene. Yeah. Hi, Terry. Yeah.
There are continents to explore right below our feet, including two giant blobs 100 times as tall as Everest. So how we can study this unseen and largely uncharted territory? For most of us here, everything we know about the composition of the Earth is what we were taught in elementary school, that our planet is made of an eggshell-like crust over a thick mantle surrounding a super hot core. In the last decades, scientists have made some super interesting and even strange or profound discoveries that can add detail to this picture. Do you believe that there might be aliens live under the ocean in the Earth's most extreme places? And robots can help us to navigate these extreme environments where the pressure is human unaffordable. Next slide, please. Terry. Yeah. Buoy, the buoyant rover for under ice exploration, is just made by NASA. This robot is a meter long and a buoyant rover with two independent wheels to maneuver along the underside of the ice. It has been designed with the ability to roam around taking both scientific data samples and photographs. Scientists believe that beneath the Earth, there are all the right ingredients to support simple life organisms, and Europa is one of the most likely places to find alien life within our solar system. After successfully launching Buoy in the Arctic and Alaska, Buoy will be used to explore Europa in 2025 project. Let's wait for the answer if there are real aliens live beneath the ocean. Thank you. Any question?
So basically, that's our presentation about the robots in everyday life. As we can see, that robots have become an indispensable part of every aspect in our daily life. And the roles of robots in our work could only be much bigger in the future. More advanced forms of robots are invented and put into practical uses, such as AI-enabled robots, self-healing robots, and cloud robots. There that will be all for our presentation today, and thank you guys for listening. And are there any further questions regarding our presentation? Cool. So I think that will be the end, right?
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That is so cool. I love the under ice explorer. That I didn't even that's really fascinating. All right, cool. You want to pick that up? Robots at Work, Team 2?
Great, you can see my screen?
Yes.
Great.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Adeline, and I am a business major.
Hi, everyone. My name is Anaya, and I'm a computational linguistics major.
Hi, everyone. My name is Cameron. I'm a computer science major.
Hey everyone, my name is Jackie. I'm also a computer science major.
Hi, my name is Jayo, and I'm also a computer science major.
So today we will be talking about how different robots help people in different occupations. We will be discussing about 3 types of robots: the Thermite RS3, Robot Dog, and the Da Vinci robot. So first off, Anaya and I will be talking about our first robot, the Thermite RS3. So does anyone want to guess what this robot is doing? Maybe type it in the chat. Well, the super cool robot is called the Thermite RS3. It is the first robotic firefighting vehicle in the US. On October 2020, it helped the Los Angeles Fire Department push piles of wet debris at a fire site in downtown LA. This robot weighs 3,500 pounds and is roughly the size of a smart car. And fun fact, it was actually put into action on the first day it was deployed. Now, does anyone want to guess how much do you guys think this robot cost? You can type it in the chat. Well, the Los Angeles Fire Department bought the Thermite RS3 for a whopping $277,000 from a tech company called Ho & Ho.
So how do you guys think the Thermite RS3 helps firefighters at work? So it's actually capable of many things. It can push debris, including vehicles, out of its way, and can pull up to 8,000 pounds. The front nozzle can actually spray water at 2,500 gallons per minute. It's remote controlled too, so the firefighters can use it however they see fit while on the scene. For our last question, for this type of robot, do you guys think that these robots threaten firefighters' jobs, or are they helpful to firefighters? Yeah, they are super helpful. According to the US Fire Administration, there have been at least 72 firefighter fatalities in 2020. The Thermite RS3 helps minimize risk to firefighters by helping them put out fires and pushing burning debris. Both the robot and the firefighters work side by side to get the job done safely and efficiently. Now I'm going to pass it on to Cameron to talk about the robot dog, Spot.
Thanks, Anaya. Great, so this is the robot dog made by Boston Dynamics. Its name is Spot. So does anyone want to take a guess on what it's doing in each of these pictures? Type it in the chat as usual if you want. So in the upper left, the robot is actually helping some workers on a electrical grid site navigate some possibly dangerous places where they might get electrocuted if a human did it. On the lower left, the robot is actually walking around a SpaceX launch site. If any of you had seen the launch of the Starship, that's the big shiny spaceship that SpaceX was testing down in Texas. it exploded on the launch pad and it was not really safe for humans to go around there. So instead, the team sent in Spot to investigate and make sure it was safe before they sent in any humans. On the right, you can see the robot dog Spot is walking up some stairs, showing how agile it can be. This could be a construction site or a plant, and it's showing how it can walk upstairs, which is pretty unique for a robot. So what makes this, does anyone want to take guesses about how this robot is different than from the Thermite we saw in the previous example? A couple things would be that this robot is obviously more agile than the previous robot. It can walk upstairs. It can walk on unstable surfaces that the treads on the other robot might not be able to handle. Additionally, if you can see the front in the slide well enough, you can see it has some cameras on the front, as well as some additional sensors. The robot is actually equipped with a thermal camera and a 3D LiDAR scanner. And on top, you can mount whatever accessory or thing you want, such as a robot arm that could be programmed with Python. The robot, you can also use Python to interact with the robot a lot, which is kind of cool if you get a chance to use it. I believe actually USC has a robot dog. The engineering team has a robot dog right now. Does anyone want to guess how much this robot costs? Good guess, Noah. Very, very close. It's actually $35,000. It's about 8 times less than the other example, but still quite a lot of money. But you were all pretty close. I'll now pass this on to Jiaying to talk about other parts of Robot Dog Spot.
There are some other situations that the robot could be very useful. So for example, in the top left corner, the robot is getting a remote control, and they can be used for cleaning a home for the owners. And then in the top right, in this situation, the robot is carrying medical equipment around the hospital, and they can take some routine tasks at German Merck, which is a famous hospital in Germany. And then in the bottom left corner, the robot is getting equipment measurements in a nuclear power plant. They can be used in this type of hostile environments, even though this nuclear power plant has been abandoned since 1986. So I'm passing to Jackie to talk about the Vinci robot.
Cool. Yeah, so first of all, based on these 3 photos, do you have any guesses what this robot could be doing? What field could it serve? What industry? Any guesses? Well, so yeah, exactly, Sophia. So this robot is obviously it helps the surgeon perform difficult operations. So this robot actually contains 3 main components. If you look at the image on the top or on the bottom left, it has a tower that has 3 arms equipped with instruments such as forceps, hooks, and needle drivers. It also has a 4th camera that's capable of 15 times magnification. The console is where the surgeon sits a few meters from the patient, remotely operating the robot arms while watching through a 3D stereoscopic monitor. And the third part of this robot is a separate cart, which contains many image processing equipment. So any guesses on how much this robot could cost? Obviously, you can't just have these around at home. So it's going to cost like a lot more money. But any guesses? I see 600,000. So a little bit more than that. This robot actually costs $2 million. So it costs a lot of money. So that's why we don't see a lot of it like just around hospitals. But yeah, so do you think this robot is more precise than the human hands? So for example, if you go to the hospital, you need to perform some operation. Would you trust this robot to operate it on your body? It's kind of scary. It's kind of scary, right? So actually, this robot provides more flexibility than human hands. The robot wrist actually provides 7 degrees of freedom, which is way more than what a human hand can do. The magnification glass on the robot also provides improved visualization, so that helps the surgeon see better when they perform operations. The surgeon can also be seated throughout the 2 to 4 hour procedure, so it becomes less tiring for the surgeon. And just to see how precise this robot can be, we'll quickly show a video of this robot stitching a grape. Yep. Cool. Yeah, that's good enough. Next slide, please. Yeah, so as you can see, from all of these examples that we have, these robots actually help us makes the workplace a safer place, and also a more productive place. And it actually doesn't pose a risk to people's job, but complement people's work. So do you guys have any questions? If not, that will be the end of our presentation. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you so much, Jackie. Thanks, you all. Great visuals. All right, let's keep rolling with robots that cook.
Can y'all see the screen?
Yep.
Great. Sorry, one second. Pretty good. Okay, yeah, I think we're all ready. Okay, let's go.
Alrighty, hey everybody. So we're going to present on robots that cook. I'm Trey. I'm a computer science major.
I'm Mark. I'm a mechanical engineering major.
Hi everyone, I'm Yuan Haoran Li, and you can call me William. I study communication and a minor in music production.
Hi, I'm Yihan. I study in computer science and minor in theater.
Hi, I'm Kaxing. I'm a communication major.
Yeah, so to start, I just had a question for everybody. What's your favorite homemade meal? You can feel free to put it in the chat. You don't have to talk about it, but yeah, what's your favorite thing that your mom makes, or your dad, or someone in the family, something special? All right. Well, so my favorite homemade meal is my mom's spaghetti. Mark's favorite meal is his world famous mac and cheese. They're on the right. So some of these dishes are harder to make than others. But in today's world, we have a lot of modern kitchen utensils and tools that help us make our lives easier when we're preparing a meal, right? For example, we have cutters, we have choppers, blenders, peelers, and so much more. However, imagine what it would be like in the future when we have a robot to automate all these tedious tasks for us. What would it be like? How would it look? These are all interesting questions that we're going to explore today. So when I think about cooking robots in the future, I think about some of these pop culture examples, right? There's WandaVision, where she's cooking dinner using her magic. There's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs, where food is being generated from the sky from a machine. There's SpongeBob Spatula that helps him make the Krabby Patties. And all this sounds awesome, right? It's like magic. So if you were to design a robot, what would it look like? What would it be capable of? Anybody? And does it have hands? Is it like a humanoid? Is it more just like look like a tool with like a spatula, stuff like that? What could it do? Yeah, the possibilities are endless.
Yeah, so that's all of the questions for the robot, and let's very welcome to the kitchen robots here. Yeah. So there's some questions about this robot, I guess. So can it make trending food on social media? And what technology does it need? And does it protect your kitchen? Uh, can it do some kung fu to protect the kitchen? And yes, the robots can do all of this, but no kung fu, of course. And it also make healthy and exciting foods. And yes, of course, it can do the grocery shopping. So let's introduce some of the fancy feature of this kitchen robot. So first of all, it can free up your day from routine cooking. Well, that's for sure. And for those middle school students, I think maybe whenever your parents are busy with working, don't worry, this machine will take care of you. And don't worry about it will always cook the fast food or something like that. It can plan and adapt your menu according to different diets and the lifestyle. So for example, if you're going on a diet, it will plan for you. You don't worry about what to eat this lunch or what to eat this dinner. And also it can control calories and get recipes from chefs around the world. And also, for example, when you have some allergic symptom, don't worry about that. Whenever you go to restaurant, order the meal, you have to look through what's inside the dishes, because if you have some allergic to some of the materials, you need to to pick it up when you order dishes. But with this machine, it will plan what to eat and what's in the dishes, and it will automatically pick up all of the allergic things for you. And also, you don't have to struggling what to eat every meal, because I don't know if students in middle school did they have lunch prepared from the school, because when you get into the college, the biggest problem every day is what to eat, and what to eat for this lunch, what to eat for this dinner, and there's only few choice for you. But when you get this machine, you just quickly go home and uh, ask this machine to prepare the meal for you, so you don't have to struggle with what to eat. And yes, the grocery shopping, you don't have to go to grocery store for the shopping, because this machine automatically order the materials from the online or the shopping center grocery store for you. So there's some of the fancy features for the kitchen robot. And let's very welcome Mark to talk more about the technical needs for the kitchen robot. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So do you have any ideas about like what sorts of sensors or like moving parts would a robot need to be able to cook? If you have any ideas, you can throw them up in the chat, but here's some of the things that I came up with when I was thinking about this. So obviously the first thing you need is you need to have some way to interact with your food. And for cooking, that both means having to do some tasks that you need to be really strong to do, like cutting through like squash or melon or meat. Those things require a lot of power. But at the same time, you have a lot of tasks that you need to be very precise with. Like if you're trying to cut like thin slices of garlic or something, or put something on the plate and make it look all fancy. So really, it requires a combination of being both very nimble and strong. So a robot like this would need to have a combination of motors and actuators, which is what's up in the left there, basically something that can move like forward and backwards. You need a combination of those things to be able to interact with the food that it's cooking. Next, it needs some sensors to actually be able to keep track of what it's doing. So I think the first thing that comes to mind when we're cooking a lot of things is temperature. Like you need to cook your meat to a certain temperature. If you're cooking, like baking a cake, it needs to be at a certain temperature. Or even if you're just boiling water to make pasta, you need to know when that water is boiling. So for something like that, you have a temperature sensor, or as they're called, thermocouples, to measure that. And we see that up at the upper right. However, cooking is a lot more complicated than just knowing the temperatures, right? So that's where more advanced robotics techniques like computer vision might come in. And we see down in the lower right corner, we have an example of what a cooking robot might see while it's cooking. You can see that it's able to identify the difference between like a raw burger and a cooked burger or a cheeseburger. And this allows it to interact with the food that it's making and keep track of what's where. Finally, it needs to actually be able to think about how it's going to carry out all of these actions. Like you can't just tell exactly what to do every time, because sometimes your fruit is maybe a different shape, or your food takes a little shorter time or a little longer time to cook. So for something like that, you need the computer to be able to do planning algorithms, which is basically where it decides what order it's going to do tasks in and how it's going to get from place to place while doing the task. So these are just a few of the many technologies that a cooking robot would need to utilize to be able to cook. Next, I'm going to hand it off to Kexon to talk about what these robots might need to look like.
So after talking about the technologies, let us talk about the appearance of the kitchen robot. Do you expect it to be human-like or robot-like? If you are the designer, how would you design the appearance of the robot? This is very important because the design would also affect the functions of the robot. And this is really about what functions would you want the robot to have. And is there anyone who wants to make a guess about what design of the functions is the most popular recently? You can also leave it in the chat. And maybe someone would say knife or shovel, or do you want a heater, a blender, or even a ladder? Actually, the most popular and efficient design is let the robot to have two hands with fingers, like the human hands. You know, humans with hands can do anything, and the kitchen robot with hands is even more efficient than humans. For the robots, they can multitask. They can use one hand to chop the vegetables and at the same time, use the other hand to fry the chicken or something. So they are very efficient in this way. Okay, let me hand over to Yihan to talk about some fancy food robots can make.
Okay, well, I'm going to talk about the two features that I'm really excited about. One is, like she mentioned, the fancy food. Let me share one of my experience. I've been to, because I don't know how to drive, so there's a really far away store that's like from our campus. I've been there once with my friend. I really miss the food flavor, but I don't know how to get there, so I never get to taste the food again. I don't know how many of you share that kind of experience, whether it's a restaurant that's far away or it's like a food from another country or like another state. But I think our kitchen robot here can help you solve that issue. So if you have a food that you have in mind, you can just search it, find the recipe, and put it into the robot. And the robot's gonna cook for you, even it's a delicious food from 100,000 miles away. So this is one of the reason I'm really excited about this robot. Another feature is, someone had mentioned it before, but I'm just gonna keep it a little bit. How many of you find it very difficult to decide what to eat for example, your dinner today? How you can raise your hands with the Zoom feature or just type it in the chat. Yeah, I see a lot of you, right? I'm that kind of person. It's so hard to decide what to eat. So it would be amazing if the robot can decide it for us. Imagine like we can enter what we have in our kitchen, like what kind of vegetable we have, what kind of meat we have, enter it into the robot, and the robot's gonna generate a recipe that you can make with what you have. And you don't have to decide what you want to eat. And because you're using it a lot, the robot's gonna save your preference for food or like what you like. So whatever that comes up, you're gonna like it because it's your personalized kitchen robot. So that is another feature I'm really excited about. Having the robot helping us make these difficult decisions, well, save time and have delicious meal. And well, what if you are the type of person that you know what you want to eat, but just happen that you missing one of the ingredients from the recipe? So another function, like we have mentioned in our chat, is grocery shopping. So if we can just enter the recipe we have, and the robot's gonna check what we're missing, and it's gonna link to maybe Amazon Fresh or like a nearby grocery store, and it's gonna bring the food over, bring the grocery to order it to your door, which is really convenient. So imagine like you're at the weekend, you're planning what to eat for next week. You can generate a recipe, the robot's gonna check what you're missing, and it's gonna order it based on when you're gonna have the meal. So you wouldn't have the issue where you forgot to buy it. And also you wouldn't have the issue where you buy it on Monday, but you're gonna eat it on Friday. So the groceries are not that fresh anymore. So I'm really excited about the kitchen robot. Okay, so my friend Ying Haran here is gonna introduce another fancy feature. Take it away.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing the fancy food and your experience. Yes, and I miss the Michelin fried chicken in San Francisco so much, and I need to drive over 6 hours to get there. Yeah, that's sad. Okay, so let's get on the social media trending food. I believe all of you guys use social media every day and spend a lot of time on it, and you must, or you may have seen some of this trending food on social media, like the cloud bread. Well, it's kind of weird, but it's a trending food. And also some homemade beverage. You can use Sprite and some orange to do that, and some fancy dessert on the social medias on Instagram. Yes, and I guess all of you guys, whenever you swipe your phone and sell this, you want to eat that. But it's hard to cook. I know it, because I tried some of the recipes that bloggers give, and I never make it. It seems like the easy recipe, but they're really hard to control and what to put and how much you put. Yes, and because you will never able to, you will never be able to cook it as same as the video did. So the kitchen robot will help you with that. Like whenever you want, give your parents big surprise when their birthday, the kitchen robot will help you with the recipe and tell you what to put and how much to put, and it will control the recipe for you. And don't worry, it won't mess it up like I did. Okay, so yeah, that's the final topic we want to talk about it. So thank you for coming, and do you guys have any questions?
Thank you so much. I can think of a lot of uses for that. Making healthy food on a really tight budget would be super helpful. You've got a lot of mouths to feed. All right, thank you all. And last but not least, we'll hear from our Team 4 sports robots. There we go.
Okay, so hey everyone, thanks for tuning in. Our group is excited to give this presentation on sports robots. So my name is Philip Jung and I'm a computer science major here.
Hi everyone, my name is Zhe Wang. I'm a senior CSBA student.
Hello everyone, my name is William Song. I'm majoring in economics and business finance.
Hello everyone, I'm Johnny Jen. I'm also a computer science major.
I'm Brooks, and I'm an industrial and systems engineering major.
Great, so a quick survey. Which sports do you guys play? Drop it in the chat, open up your mic. I'm sure we have some star athletes here. Basketball, that's a good one. I played a lot of b-ball back in the day. Soccer, that's a good one. Good team game. Anyone else? Any football players? Okay, well, those are two good ones. I played some of that. I played a lot of table tennis growing up, but so we have a bunch of sports here, and throughout our presentation, one of the questions that we want to try to explore and try to answer is where and how could these sports or its athletes benefit from using robots? So most people probably don't think about robots when they're talking about athletics. After all, sports require agility, dexterity, and physical reflexes, but actually today's robots are quite adept. Leading robotics experts are pushing the boundaries of these robots in sports, advances in computer vision, artificial intelligence, and just holistically, the software and hardware to design and create robots are continuing to improve. So to give you some examples, some practical examples of robots in sports, here's Brooks.
Hey guys, so in these photos, we've got a couple different examples. So the top left is the Robo Cup, where robots are actually just playing against each other. And Philip mentioned artificial intelligence. So for these robots, and in sports, you have to make decisions as you go. So finding a way to teach the robots how to make those decisions can be done by either having them play against themselves or against people, and they learn from all the input that they're receiving by playing the game and learning as they go. On the right, we have boxing, so they're sparring, and that's useful for training. So the design of the robots could look a lot different. This one, has 2 arms, but sometimes they're built with 4 or more to kind of maximize the difficulty for the person that's trying to train. And then one of you guys talked about playing basketball. On the bottom left, this robot is built mainly just to do like a shooting contest, like free throws. But as these robotics are progressing, you could start to see something more like what's above it in the soccer, where you'd have an actual robot being able to play and move around, which would require, way more agility, more sensors. So that's an area where you could see something. And then in the bottom right, this is an actual professional ping pong player, and he went up against this robot and he beat it, but then they kept adding in more of those arms, and it became a challenge. So you could actually see where robots in some sports more than others can actually compete against humans.
So now let me explain that. So what can sports robots do for you? It's like specifically in our daily lives. What is the application of sports robots? So currently in the field of sports robots, scientists or developers are targeting about these goals. The first one is to trying to mimic people's action in the field of sports, trying to, as Brooks mentioned earlier, the shooting, the basketball shooting robots, and also like these robots are the kind of the hardest to manufacture or to develop because people have to use a lot of advanced technologies such as like motion detector or artificial intelligence, and then there's like tons of coding to do in order to produce one robots that can like actually be mimicking people's actions. So these kind of robots are also built using human as their blueprint. And then the second one is widely popular applied robots already in the field of sports, which is the robots who can able to do some fundamental jobs in like to help with our daily practices and training, such as the robots who can fetch the ball and or also like to in the ping pong ball case, the robot who can automatically serve or like to play against you. These kind of robots serves mostly like a training tool. And then the third one is like the robots who are able to interpret the game. They can like be the coach or be the referee when they need it. So these kind of robots are easier to develop, since all they need to do is to like use artificial intelligence, machine learning, and then just like you put all the code or the cases into the robot. They will just learn automatically, and then they will offer advice or to find the wrongdoings in the field of sports when they see one. Okay. Next slide, please. So the question is, most of the other people concerned about using sport robots is why we need it. So with introducing like sports robots in this field of sports, it save a lot of time, is more efficient, of course. It's like having a training robot, practice robot. It saves you a lot of time, and then you can do it whenever you want and wherever you want, and then you don't require no other like external help, as for example the ping pong ball case or the basketball shooting drill. I guess a lot of you will be pretty like well, a lot of you like for take me as an example. I always get pretty annoyed to go to have to fetch the ball whenever I want to do a shooting drill or stuff. And also like implementing sports robots in the field of coaching or referees, it provides a lot of absolute fairness, and also like the robot coach, they can adjust accordingly toward the situation of course, so it will be very flexible, and then all the things will be like utilized very efficiently. And then also the last one, the point that we need like human-like sports robots is that with the advance of technology, these robots can be like they serve a better purpose, and then it's just like, and it also is like a show of our technological progress.
All right, folks, now I will talk about how we can actually make this happen. So first of all, to build a robot, we need data, a huge amount of data. Of course, since it is a sport robot, scientists collect data from sports players, whether they are new to this sport, play it for several years, or even professional players. In other words, all of us can somehow contribute to making this robot, and at the very least, our sports performance data. And the data will also be collected from all kinds of scenarios, whether it is a professional match, a daily practice in the gym, or even just in your backyard. In this way, robot scientists can make sure that their data sample is representative, so that their robot is able to accommodate all levels of players. Then they will code the general rules of the sports into the robots, so that robot understand the logistics of the game. It also may be necessary to place multiple sensors on the play field so that the robot can sort of visualize the player field just like us. For example, if it is a basketball robot, It will know when, if the ball will be out of bounds or if it is time to shoot a 3-point. And finally, with enough data, robot scientists will use machine learning and artificial intelligence to optimize the performance of the robot. Does anyone want to take a guess of how that will work? So basically, the robot will analyze and learn all kinds of data, such as the trajectory of the ball and the motion of the sport players. And it will then be able to adjust and improve its algorithm over time. Again, in the basketball robot example, with enough representative player data, the robot will gradually learn and mimic the gesture of how real people actually shoot the ball differently relative to their position to the basket, how to steal a ball without any foul, and how to do proper defense, etc. Sounds amazing, right? As you can see in the picture on the left, the basketball robot now can shoot a beautiful curve with perfect gesture with the support of machine learning. I will now pass it over to Zhe Wang to talk about the specifics of creating such a robot.
All right, as young students, it's kind of hard for us to directly start making those robots, but there was something we can do. Like we can start from studying the relevant subjects such as math, physics, and some programming. And by using some mathematical tools like calculus and linear algebra, we will be able to calculate the motion trails of the robots and other objects. And by using physics, we will be understanding the principles behind the robots, some movement, and for example, we can calculate how well the ball come to the hand of the robots and how will them be delivering the ball to the ring. And by studying programming, we'll be able to communicate with the robots, that we can give direct orders to the machines and tell them what to do and stuff like that. So these subjects will help us build a solid base, whether we want to pursue a career in robotics or we just being interested in making some simple robots. And thank you. We are opening to any questions.
Yeah, if you guys have any questions, or are there any sports that you guys play where you think a robot could actually be there at some point in the future? If you want, you can talk or put that in the chat. One of the ones that we were thinking about was an umpire for baseball, to be able to call the strikes more accurately than a human. That was something that we thought might pop up in the future. If you have any questions or things that you think could be taken over in the future, let us know.
All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.
Thank you so much, Philip, and thank you, Team 4. This gives everybody so much food for thought, and we encourage you all to participate in this incredible field. You can be the ones who develop and determine what these robots actually do and shape the future directions of these technologies. As our teams have presented, these are just ideas and sort of nascent ideas and a lot of technology, but it's not fully come together yet. So we encourage you to participate. It's very cool and exciting. So thank you so much. Thanks for joining us today.
And I'm going to jump in, and I'm putting into the chat right now a quick survey. It's just a few questions. We just want to know if you've got any reactions, any questions. Professor Weiss and all of your students, I want to thank you so much for being here today. It was really interesting, and Team 3, you made me really hungry. So I also want to encourage the people in the audience and all of the students to join us throughout this week, because we've got quite a few very different. We've got some researchers talking about their work. We've got things for the public. We've got our last event is somebody who creates robots for films is going to close out the thing. We're going to be building an Arduino robot on Twitch tomorrow. So please check out. Yes, I got the right URL. Please check it out. But for all you students, thank you. You did a great job. And really, it does help the next generation of engineers to hear what you're thinking about with robots. I really didn't even know about sports robots. So I want to say thank you so much. Thank you, Professor Weiss, and hope to see some of you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thanks, students. I'll send out an email later. Good to see everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice job.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks. Anybody want to ask any questions now that there's fewer people here? Ethan, do you want to ask a question? Elizabeth, I'm curious if the younger students ask more questions.
Tons.
Huh, interesting.
Isn't that funny? Tons.
It's possible
Oh, yes.
they were in a classroom earlier and maybe that made it. Did it appear they were in a classroom?
You know, it did, especially in the 3:30 with Jennifer. There were several teachers, and I think the teachers were actually asking quite a few questions. But the students were as well, but the teachers were kind of, in it also. And so that was very, thought-provoking. But yeah, a lot of, they're so creative. Their creativity is really wonderful at that young age.
And they're not afraid. They're not afraid. Middle school is when they all start, getting self-conscious or turning against STEM. Yeah.
That's so interesting that you say that, and the realities of things set in, and it's just when they're just open and able to think about it. These things have not been created. I mean, we're making the technologies, but these things aren't happening. I mean, I don't have one in my kitchen. It's like it's not happening, right?
I started laughing when I thought about the umpires. Like, okay, the robot costs $10 million. It's cheaper than a great player.
Right? Oh my gosh. It's so true. So, but it's great at this age too. I think the middle schoolers, it's good because they're actively thinking of what could be done.
When can you be with me?
Because they're in it. I mean, they're
Dad,
5
when is
years
this-
away.
I mean, Mom. when is this-
Yeah.
Mom,
I'm sure your kids have been waiting for you for a long time.
Like, is that robot going to make dinner or are you? Right?
That's so funny. It's so hard to decide what to eat. It, is what your student said. And it is true, but it's
I know.
That's a problem that college students have.
Or when you're young, or when you got a lot of mouths to feed, you don't have enough food. I mean, it's bad, and it's expensive, and so you're trying to, like, how can I pull together something great and healthy with the few things that I've got in the cabinet, and these are the useful kind of applications, I think.
Yeah. Well, I thank you so much for participating in this way.
Katie, I love it. Thank you for shouting it out. And I'm just so glad to do something with you. It's always great fun.
I feel the same way.
Yeah, we'll talk again. Well,
yeah, okay.
Well,
all right.
Call me. Okay.
Okay. Take care now. Have a good evening. Bye-bye.
I'll email you, okay? I'm gonna close out here, but I'll email you.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, absolutely. Bye, guys.